How do you get past unrequited love that is ongoing, a fantasy crush that just keeps lingering even when you are dating other people but they're looming in the background? If there's this element of you always thinking that someday they're going to wake up, they're going to see you, and then they're going to reciprocate, or they'll have the desire to get to know you more. Unrequited love in this way, the kind that you can't let go of, and you can't even love somebody you're with wholeheartedly because half of your heart is still caught up in the what if of this crush. That is, I think, one of the most painful types of love to endure, because there's this delusional hope, this kind of overconfidence mixed with an underconfidence, because there's this overconfidence that they're going to come around and that your fantasy is going to play out. And then there's this the underconfidence of the fact that you are so preoccupied with somebody that's showing you really no signs, but you just love them. You want to get to know them. You know, if they just saw you the way you saw them, that things would be great. Things would be perfect, you know? And it's wrenching. I had this unrequited love, kind of fantasy, limerence, infatuation. There's so many words for it. I had it for 7 years with somebody. And it's a long tale, and I'll tell it as on its own accord another time. I'm mostly, because I've already tried to tell it on video and it's so long that I am just going to kind of focus on how do we get past it in this. Because with my unrequited love, I had, it started with a kiss, and then it went 4 years, it had another kiss. And then even when we both moved away, I was still like hoping that there would be a come around, like in the event that like I got my book published and I was in the same place. And so even when we both had moved away, I was still hoping, pining. It was sick. Honestly, when I look at myself, I know I was so excited and I couldn't let go of it, because it's like there becomes a point where you think, well, just think, all of my suffering could have been worth it if we get together in the end. There's an element of all my pain over it would be eradicated. But the truth of it is, I don't think it would be eradicated. I think it would be a long kind of, there'd be a bit of resentment and a grudge, because there have been 7 years of this pain and unrequited. And it's not pain as a scoreboard like he caused it, because it's both parties. One person's has so much expectation, and then the other person is just, they're not aware of all of this going on, this crush. But anyway, it's a painful thing to get over, and I'm going to try to articulate how I got over it. And it's not like it was not a snap of the finger. It was honestly, the only way I got over it was truly, I just knew that as the years and the grudges and the pain built up into a pile, I just didn't see it ever, like, I couldn't have that starry-eyed idea that when we started getting to know each other, then it would all be perfect and rosy, because by now we've gotten older, and those were the years to take advantage of getting to know each other. I mean, I always think that was when I was at my most not just optimal, but optimistic. I had a tough time saying that because got caught in my throat. But I was at my best then, and I was in love with him when I looked my best, and when I was very earnest and sincere and excited and enthusiastic. Not that I'm those things now, I just can't imagine being that same level. Like there's a muted, like I almost feel like I got drained by that unrequited love crush for so long, hoping and pining and waiting and yearning and burning. And so it was almost like I'm exhausted. And so this is a horrible way to get over unrequited love, but honestly, it's just time itself. How awful. And it's not just time though, but he also, I just couldn't stand somebody that, it was almost like I liked him because I think he was very similar to me, but it's too similar in the way that we're both really passive. Like, I was more aggressive than him, in fact, and he just wouldn't pursue it. Like, it's pretty easy to just start conversations, tag people in memes, like, make an ongoing thing. If you like someone, go for it, get to know them. And I mean, it got to the point where I was in LA for 5 years. I liked him all 5. I liked him, even the reason I moved to LA. I made out with him at a party a year before I moved in LA. So that's the thing, is he's kind of part of my LA dream, because I thought right before him, I had dated an engineer who I didn't really like see me or recognize that writing was a legitimate job, hobby, all of the above. And because this guy that I liked was a TV writer, I had him, he was merged in not only a romantic crush, but also my career, because he was like the older version of what I wanted to be. And so I looked up to him, I respected him, and he taught me a lot of things about how to break into TV writing. He would read my scripts. He read my script that I wrote when I was in college, and he was part of that. He respected that. He saw that. And so that was really important to me, especially I had the fantasy merged of me moving to LA and me learning the city and navigating the TV writing industry with him as someone to help me, and somebody that, we both would understand each other. And so that was really, I thought that was really exciting. The potential of it seemed so great. But he didn't see me that same way, because honestly, he'd already dated all kinds of people that were TV writers, actresses, all kinds of people, all kinds of hot women. He always gets hot women. He didn't see me. He just didn't see me. He doesn't even though we were in the same workshop and I had really good writing, and he saw part of that, but it's like he still didn't really have a curiosity. And so it's that kind of constant hoping that someone will wake up or see you, but you can't force it. And then by the time it's been 7 years, like by the time it's been, you both left LA and then even after we both left LA, he was watching my stories, I was still hopeful. That's what's so sick about unrequited love, that you just can't let go of. And so how did I get over it? Well, I honestly got exhausted, and I also he never pursued it. He never pursued it. We were also living in different places. He didn't know, of course, that, I had this new fantasy that I was living on, where I would get a book deal, and then I would have an opportunity to see him in New York, and then we would celebrate that together. Because I always have these dumb fantasies with him that involve us being successful together and accomplishing our dreams, and then supporting each other, and being in that kind of love where it's like both of us are writers that are excited, helping each other and workshopping our pieces. And so I still had that going, because I couldn't let go. I couldn't let go because it was part of not only my love life, it was part of my dream life with career. But the real thing that finally nipped it in the bud, which is really sad, is that once COVID hit, I knew that his current girlfriend and him they had lived together in a pod, and they were going to have this trauma that bonded them, and it was just pretty clear that it was time to let go of the unrequited love, because they were going to be together. They've gone through COVID together. Like, now there's been so many experiences that they've had that are going to feel, especially since both of them are nearing 40, that it's never going to be, he's exhausted from the dating scene. He's older than me, and so it's just not gonna happen. Like, there was hope those first 2 years when he moved and I moved, when he was watching my stories, because it was clear he didn't like the first girl he was dating in New York. But by now, it's just like, no, I finally came to reality. And so how do you get over it? How do you get over it? It's really sad, but the answer is sometimes you really won't get over it until it's completely, like, I've had different waves of getting over it. I've had probably, even when I'm over it in one way, it's still looming, or my subconscious is still hoping. And so I'd say the unrequited love, I think you have to write yourself out of it. One thing I did is I avoided writing about it to confront it. And usually I write about issues that cause me strife. And I think that I didn't want to write about it because I also didn't want to work through it, because I really wanted it to come. I was so stubborn about it working out and him coming around. So I would say you've got to confront it, but you won't. And I will say, well, you'll have waves of thinking you're over it, but it'll be looming. And that's true. And then honestly, you have to meet somebody that offers you legitimate, true, genuine love. But even if you have that, sometimes they're still looming. They're a ghost. They're really tough, like Great Gatsby pining going on. That's like they're like your Daisy. They're just caught up. So what I'm trying to offer to you is, all I can offer to you is, I've been where you've been. I felt pathetic because of it. It's really ridiculous when you talk about it, because this is just a very abridged version, and yet it's just so sad to waste that much time and energy and 7 years of you when I was in my hottest, when I was in my prime. Because I liked him from age 24 to 31, 32. Really, really sad. And I truly have let go of that now. I mean, there's a weird, what's helped me is, it's just like it's an exhausting, like, oh, honestly, it's hard for me to care, because it was always just a fantasy, a projection, a hope. And so all I can offer you is, I hope that you realize that other people go through this. There's even a book called Limerence. I would check that out, because it goes through this. But even when I read that and I knew I was in it, I read that right when I was 25 in the heat of it. But even knowing that didn't help me. I still was in it. So all I say is, I understand navigating the pain of it. And I have to say, the solution isn't ready-made. It's really time and getting over agony. I think other people probably have a way more sweet, capped story about how they met a better person, and that contrast helped them get over it. But man, I dated people, and I was still always in the back of my mind, but really hopeful that I'd get to know this guy, and really messed up. It really, really was a painful, unrequited love that I couldn't let go of. And so I'm going to share this with you, because Valentine's Day is sometimes a period where we reflect on the painful love that we've had and the joyful love.